Irontrader, it is hump day, which means it is crude day. Now, the EIA report should be out today at 10:30. Okay, we're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas, and we're going to take a look here at OneStream, OS. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation buy, selling stock, not ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Alrighty, here we have Bitcoin daily chart, Ethereum daily chart. I can see they're very, very similar situations, so whichever one you trade. Now, I don't trade Ethereum yet, I should say, but I do trade the old Bitcoin. So we'll take a look at this here first, okay? So what we're looking here on the downside, you can see yesterday we had this big engulfing red candle, but today so far we have what they call an inside day. Your high and low is the inside of the previous day. Now, here on the downside, what we're really watching is we're going to be watching this 200-day. That's going to be very key, 104.302, and then we have your 8-day right below that at 103.918 level, okay? Now, you can see here where this was last Friday where it gapped up, and we had that little gap. Now that gap right there is filled, which is actually a good thing, okay? So if we lose this, the 8-day at that 103.918, then we'll go to today's low. You're looking at 102.870. We'll come down to the bottom candle, 102.610 level kind of situation, okay? And then what we want to do is we always want to look here to the left of the chart, okay? So the next level is going to be 101.390, and then we'll come down to the bottom of that candle there at 108.15, and then we have your retest at 99.250. But this is the key that we're looking for. So even if you lose that 99.250, this 99.90, that's going to be the key on what we want to hold on a closing basis. We lose that, we're going to go start ripping right back down here. Yeah, you know, could go down in the 80s, maybe even the 70s. So we want to make sure that we hold that situation. Now here you look at the RSI. This is 44. This is not overbought or oversold. The green is below your red now. If we can get that to curl up, we can push it higher. But we have a lot of resistance going on up here. So what we're looking for today is we made this high at 105.475 level. Okay, so if you look at the bottom of that candle, 105.755, okay? See, there's your resistance. And then the next level is going to be right there. It's going to be that 106.210 level. Then we'll come to the top of this candle, 107.30. And then we're going to be looking right here at that 107.883 level. That is going to be your 21-day. And that's going to be very, very strong resistance, okay? Now, again, if we get above that, we'll come right to the bottom of that candle. And that's a 109.300 level. We'll come there, 109.820. And then we start venturing right on up here to the top of that candle. You're looking at 111.290 level, but this is what you're going to be looking for, that 112.624 level. That's your 50-day, and we have your 100-day above that at 113.647. Above that, we have this retest at 116.570, which is basically just the top of that candle. Okay, see how nice these price channels work. All they are just tops and bottoms of candles, which work out very, very nicely. Okay, so for today, this is what you're watching, is that 8-day and that 200-day. That's going to be very, very key on a closing basis. And then if we lose that, want to watch yesterday's low, because that's always the key, is the previous day's candle high, low, and close. Okay, so that's 102.610. On the upside here, your big target is going to be that 21-day. Then we have to see what kind of reaction is once you get there. Like yesterday, came up to it and it couldn't get above it, and we'll see what happens if it does rally up into that situation. We can get above that 200-day or 21-day. That would be awesome, because then we start heading towards that 50-day, but then that 8-day could be very, very possibly like here, curl right back up again, cross over that 21-day, and we could take that price right on up here nicely. Okay, we look at Ethereum. Now, very, very similar, but just a little bit different. You can see where the 200-day is, okay? So on the downside, what we're watching is right here is that 8-day at that 34.53. And then today we made this a little bit lower, 34.16. And then we had that 34.12 yesterday. That's what you're going to be losing, going against if you lose that 34.53 level, okay? Now, again, we can always look to the left of the chart here on this Ethereum here too also, okay? So a 33.24 level, that's just what you're going to be looking at here, okay? And then what we do is then we look here to the bottom of this candle, okay? You're looking at 32.56, and then we have right there, we have 32.02 level, and then we have 31.78, and then we have your big retest down here at 30.73, and your 200-day just below it at 30.65. But right now, just watch that 8-day. That's very, very key. Now, you can see here, just like on Bitcoin, we have a descending channel going on here. High, lower high, lower high. Okay, low, lower, low, lower, lower. The same thing situation we have going here. So they're trading pretty much in parallel. Okay. Now here on the upside, we want to watch yesterday's high. That's at 36.58, and then we'll be looking right here for that 37.44. That's your 21 day. Now you have to get back above that. Then we got a chance at hitting that 100 day at 38.70, and then we have that 40.99 level, which is your 50 day, and then we want to work yourself all the way up to the top of this candle right there at that 42.58. But again, we're right now we're only above the 200 day and the 8 day. So we have the 21 day, the 100 day, and the 50 day to go. You got to get crack above that and reverse that downtrend to take it higher. Okay. On the downside, just watch that 8 day, very, very key, and then watch yesterday's low, the same as we're doing there on the old Bitcoin. Okay. So you can see the RSI is pretty much the same thing. It's not overbought or oversold. The green is below your red, kind of a situation. But if we get the curl up, we can, take this higher. But we have to break that downtrend on both of these here. Then we can zip up and maybe even do those big retests all the way on up. Okay, let's take a look here now at gold and silver. Here we have gold and silver. Okay, so looking here, not too bad. Okay, so I got out of a trade yesterday because we had this really nice above the 21 day, but then we have these little indecision candles. So far today, what I'm going to be watching, see if I could jump back into GLD, is I'll be watching that 21 day right there at 40.96 level. Now, if we start losing that there, then we'll come right there at that 40.59, and then we have that 40.43 level, and then we'll come down here to this 8 day, which is that 40.41. This is very, very critical on that 8 day. Okay, now eventually, I think that 8 day is going to cross up and cross over that 21 day, which would push it higher, kind of a situation. But then again, that's why we trade the charts. Okay, so watch that 21 day, very, very key. Next level is going to be that 8 day at 440, and then we can come down to that 50 day, and then we have that retest down here at 39.01. Okay, now on the upside here, obviously 41.55 level. Then we come up to the top of this candle here. You're looking at 41.71, and then we have 41.75. Okay, then we just look right to the bottom of that candle. You're looking at 42.29, and then we zip right up here to that 43.46 level, and then we go all the way 43.93. Okay, so right now I have no trade on with the GLD. I'm just waiting to see exactly how it's if it's gonna hold that 21 day, and I'm looking for to go rally above yesterday's high. Then what we can do is then I can jump back in here and maybe we can hit for that 43.98 level there. Okay, now 58, that's not overbought, oversold. And look here, the green hasn't crossed over yet, but it's getting real close. But that could also roll over, so just be a little bit careful here. We just have the sideways consolidation. But if that 8 day can cross that 21 day, you'll push that price up nice. Now, silver, whole different story here on silver. I'm still long the SLV. I held it here overnight. I was looking at this, and I can see here how it's way better trade than what the gold is doing as of right now. Okay, and now we're just kind of like ramping up, and it looks like we're going to maybe retest that 53.76 level. Okay, so this is where I got into it, and I held it. So yesterday we just had a little bit higher high and a lot higher. See the difference in candles versus what we have going on here. Okay, so what we're looking here on the upside is today we had this 51.75 level. So all you have to do is look right to the left of the chart here, 51.83. That's your next target. Okay, then we get above that, then their next target is going to be 52.63, and then we have that retest at 53.76. Then we have to see what the reaction is once you get there. You close above that. Okay, and then we head towards that 55 level, or does it double top and come down, or does it hit it, or just shy of it and go sideways action? So that's the key, is going to be the reaction once we get there, if we get there. Okay, now downside, you want to watch today's low, obviously, is 50.76, and then yesterday's low, 50.15 level here. And then we can come over top of this candle here at that 49.22, and then this is what you're looking at, that 49.11, and right there, and that 48.96 level, which is that 8 day. Now, you see the difference how this 8 day is curling up here and it's almost ready to cross that 21 day. That's very, very bullish. We'll send that price up higher. This doesn't look like it's just not ready as of yet. Okay, but eventually I think that's going to cross and we're going to push that price up higher. So if you're trading gold, just be a little bit patient with that. And then the silver, I say I'm just long in the SLV, and I think we can just kind of ramp that value up here and retest that 53.76. Now, we're not overbought or oversold. And look how nice, see how that green crossed over there red? Okay, that shows momentum to the downside. See when it crosses below, that's momentum to the downside. This is momentum there to the upside kind of situation. This has not crossed yet. Okay, so this is actually a better looking chart as of right now. Okay, let's take a look here now at crude oil. All right, here we have crude oil. API report should be out here at 10:30 today. Okay, now we have a descending chart. going down here, okay? And then even more this way. Now, I pointed out he had left shoulder, head, and the right shoulder, but the right shoulder is just carrying on a little bit too far here. I mean, man, if they figured if this would have played out, this target is going to be right there at that 66.42 level, okay? Now, you can see here how we're just, this 50-day is how strong this is. See how it went in there? It couldn't get through. Look at this. Same thing yesterday. Couldn't do it. Now we're trading here between the 50 SMA here. Okay, that's 61.33 and that 8-day. So we got to see which one is going to be the big winner here. Okay, 60.29. So downside, you want to watch is 60.26. That's that 8-day. We lose that, we come right down to the 21-day at 59.98. Now, if we lose that, here's going to be your target. It's going to be the bottom of that candle right there at that 58.83 level. And then we venture around here, your 58.08. And then we come down here, 57.34. And then we have 56.35 and your retest 55.96. However, this is holding in very, very strong, okay, especially this time of year, okay? Now, upside, obviously the 50-day is everything, 61.33. We got to get above that. Then we can hit to this price channel at 62.59. Then we can hit the 100-day here at 63.41. And then your 200-day, 64.77. And then we have the top of that at 66.42 level. Okay, so right now I'm just trading this, okay, both ways. UCO for the long, SCO for the short. But this time of year, I think it's holding in here very well, considering, actually this time of the year. Okay, so, but again, we have a downtrending situation going on here. But let's just see if this can kind of like play out here, and maybe this inverse head and shoulders still will play out. It's dragging on a little bit too long. Usually these here will play out. Okay, so here's another example of an inverse head and shoulder. See that left shoulder? There's your head, and there's your right shoulder. So when it played out, I said it's going to go to that 200-day, and that's what it went. This was that war premium situation, which no one can count on. When it blasts up, and then always look at what the result is. Now, this one here kind of dangling out a little bit longer, but again, it could play out, and that would be your target there at that 66.42. Now, you're only sitting at 49. That's not overbought, oversold. The green is still over your red, but we just have this sideways action, but we're downtrending, and that 50-day right there is everything. You got to get and close back above it. Then we can start going from level to level to level. All right, take a look here now at natural gas. All right, here we have the old natural gas. Let me just spread that out a little bit. All right, here we go. Nicely. Now, you can see here we had that contract rolled right on up here. So I've been just trading the UNG. Now, yesterday we had a really nice good day. Got as high as that 4.58. Today so far is 4.58. Okay, so all you have to do is look to the left of the chart here, and what do you see? 4.58. Okay, so everything that we were trying to hit, kind of a situation there. See that 4.42 level? All you had to do is look to the left of the chart there. There was your 4.42. Okay. Then we went to that 4.7. Then we went to that 5.1 or 5.5 level, and now we're sitting here right at that 5.8 level. That's what we're looking for. Now you crack above that. There is no resistance here. Look at old Sticky here. You're going to march that right up to that 490 level. Okay, so you got a good march up here. I trade the UNG. I haven't traded any of the short side with the KOLD, but the UNG has been working very, very nice and taking this here up higher. Okay, now as long as we hold that 8-day, we're doing good. So that's the key. And you can see here how we've held this 8-day. Did it come down a little bit below? Yeah, but you notice where it closed up. So this 4.37 is going to be very, very key. If we lose that, we go to yesterday's low at 4.27. Then we're going to be looking right here at that 4.18 level. And then we'll come down here at that 4.08. And then we'll come down here at the bottom of that candle at 4.01. And then we'll look to the top of there at 386. And then we're looking for that 378. That is your 21 SMA. Now, there is the gap at 375 and 343 here if it does get hammered. But look at this, how this 8 days above, 21-day, 50-day, about ready to cross all on up here. So actually this is looking very, very good. Now we are to an overbought situation. Okay, your green is over your red, but we're going to this time period right now where natural gas, this is its world right now. This is where it's happening right here, because we got really, really cold weather coming in, and they got snow like where I lived. I couldn't believe it snowed that quick already. And so again, but we have a good like a melt up situation. But really what I'm looking for is that retest of that 490 level. Okay, that is going to be very key. Now again, there's a lot of levels there above that. You know what I'm saying? You could march this thing all the way up to that 760 level. So, don't get excited. But right now, what we're doing, we're just looking for that 490. That's going to be the retest. Then we can measure, go and take that bad boy all the way on up. Okay? So, again, just be a little bit patient here with the natural gas. For me, I'm just trading it, okay, because they don't call this the Widowmaker for nothing. okay? And this could drop just as fast as it could go up. So, you know what I'm saying? But that's why I like trading it, that and crude, because it's always in play. All right, let's take a look here now at the OneStream OS. All right, here we have OneStream. Okay, now you can see here, look, the passage just had its earnings. Okay, this is like a sideways action. This here, we had it dropped down and we have a sideways action, but look at this earnings. Okay, look how nice it popped right on up here, very, very nicely. And now we're hanging around that 200-day. Now you can see how nice these charts are working out. See how we had this, but what I wanted to show you here is this double bottom. Okay, I have a buddy of mine. He's they're trading in this in the chat room, and he always likes to take the OS. Now I just tried to point out to you right here, 1651, okay? And then all you have to do, you can go back as far as you want. We had that 1669. You see that double bottom right there? See? When it came up there and it came all the way down and it held that. Then it just kind of like on a melt up here, just kept on rolling up here. And then we had that nice green candle, but where'd it go? Right into that 100-day, okay? And then look at this big green candle. It held that 8-day. Look how nice it held that 8-day. And where did it go? Right into that 200-day, okay? Now, this here is melting right on up. Yesterday got high as that 23.94 level. So why did it get there? Because all you do is take this price channel, come right across here. Okay, that's your resistance level right there, 24.24. Okay, so if it keeps rallying up, that's what we're looking for. Now you're coming down and you're retesting this right here. Okay, so you're retesting that. Okay, that 200 SMA. So that's what we're retesting, is that 22.98. Okay, so on the downside, watch that on a closing basis. If we lose that, we go to yesterday's low, 22.42. If we lose that, we're going to come down and retest that 100-day at 21.30, and then we could come all the way down to that 20.63. But now that 8-day crossed the 21-day, the 50-day, now it's looking to move up. So this should provide very, very nice support. So just because we had this nice big run up, you have a little pullback. That doesn't mean that that's the end of the trade. This could go higher. So what we have here today is an inside day. Your high and low is the inside the previous day. So bottom line, just watch yesterday's candle. 23.94 on the top side, 22.42 on the bottom. We crack above this, then right here is going to be your next target, that 24.26 level. Okay, then when we do that, we just bring this price channel right across. This is going to be next target, 25.70. Then we just bring this right across here. That's going to be 26.91. Then we have this gap all the way up here, 27.22. Okay, then we have that fill right below that, 27.86. Gap, fill. Then we look to the top of that candle at 28.86, and we march it all the way up here to that 29.66 level. Okay, but again, what you do is one level at a time. Okay, is it going to get there? It might. Is it not going to? Guys, might not get there. Absolutely. Okay, that's why you take one level at a time. That's why I like these blue lines are just price channels, and you just bring them across, because as it sells down, okay, and you look at the other side of it, it leaves your resistance levels when it comes right back up again. So just follow these all the way across, and those are all your upside targets if you're trading it. Okay, so for right now today, watch yesterday's candle, 23.94 on the high side, 22.42 on the downside, and watch that 200-day on a closing basis. If you lose that, your target's going to be right there at your 100-day and at your 8-day. Just that simple. Now, we got to a little oversold condition here. Now, she wants to come back, but that doesn't mean it can't stay oversold for a while, okay? I mean, look at the indexes. I mean, those are way oversold. But again, it can stay like that, just like we had here, okay, situation. So, again, look at here. Your MACD, your green crossed over your red. This could run right on up here. It's got plenty of room to run on the situation, okay? So just because it has a little bit of red candle today, just watch that 200-day. Now, again, if we start losing that 200-day, 100-day, and 8-day, well, yeah, then it's all done. But right now, you can see how that 8-day is moving up, and that's going to provide very, very nice support for you. Okay, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here midday trading. We'll take a look at some stocks. Looks like the NASDAQ futures are up about 99 here today. So let's just see what we have shaken out. Remember, EI report for crude oil should be out today at 10:30. Trade what's in front of you, not what you want.